ਦੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀਆਂ ਸਮੱਸਿਆਵਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੱਖ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਮੁਸਲਿਮ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਦਿਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਲੈਵਲ ਔਰ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਲੈਵਲ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਣ 'ਚ ਆਈਆਂ। ਸਿੱਖ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਹਰਟ ਹੋਏ। ਜੌਨ ਬੇਅਰਡ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੋਰਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਦੌਰਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਔਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਬਿਆਨ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖ ਐਕਸਟ੍ਰੀਮਿਜ਼ਮ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਐਕਸਟ੍ਰੀਮਿਸਟ ਸਿੱਖ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੈ ਨੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਲਵੋ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਦੇ ਦਾਇਰੇ ਦੇ ਤਹਿਤ ਕੋਈ ਚੇਤਾਵਨੀ ਦੇਵੋ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਦੇ ਦਾਇਰੇ ਦੇ ਤਹਿਤ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਲਾਓ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਰੋ। ਤੇ ਇਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਮਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਏ। ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਇਸ ਸਿਲਸਿਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਰਟ ਹੋਈਆਂ। ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮੀਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਗੱਲ ਉਛਾਲੀ ਗਈ ਔਰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਲੱਬ ਆਫ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੇ ਉਛਾਲੀ GTA ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤੇ ਜੌਨ ਬੇਅਰਡ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਆਈ ਕਿ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਕੋਈ ਬਿਆਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਔਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਿਆਨ ਨੂੰ ਟਵਿਸਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਸੀ। ਉਸ ਸਿਲਸਿਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕੀਤਾ। ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਆਫ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਟਾਊਨ ਹਾਲ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਟੇਕ ਹੋਲਡਰਸ ਨਾਲ। ਜਿਮ ਕੈਰੀਜੈਨਸ ਜੋ ਕਿ MP ਨੇ ਸਕਾਰਬਰੋ ਤੋਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਇਸ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ 'ਚ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਡੀਅנס ਵੈਂਟ ਆਊਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਨ, ਆਪਣਾ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਨ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਹਰਟ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ। ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਸਲੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਡਿਸਕਸਟਿੰਗ ਮੂਵੀ ਬਣੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੇ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਔਰ ਜਿਮ ਕੈਰੀਜੈਨਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੰਡੈਮ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਐਸੇ ਵੀਕ ਕੱਢ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਹਰਟ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ। ਆਈ ਹੋਪ ਯੂ ਲਾਈਕ ਦਿਸ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਐਜ਼ ਵੈਲ ਐਂਡ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਲੈਟ ਅਸ ਨੋ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ।
You all know what Minister Baird said. And this is not the first time that the Conservative Party has brushed a community with the same brush. I've read some of the articles in the paper. Does anybody have exactly what he stated? Does anybody have the comments? No? You got the comments what he said? Okay. But you know what he said when he was in India. So my question and my priority here today is to hear firsthand from community and stakeholders from the Punjabi community if you got any concerns, if you got any comments, and what would you like us in the Liberal Party to say. Now, that doesn't mean what your statements might be here I agree with you. It might be that you don't agree with me. But I'm here more to listen versus to talk. So, having said that, I will tell you this much, that I've seen the statements of Mr. Baird. I was concerned, and I've heard a lot of outrage from the community.
Coming out and listening to what we have to say, and hopefully you can provide us with some guidance or even some course of action, because speaking and talking isn't simply enough for the Sikh community anymore. Now, in relation to what Mr. Baird said, Mr. Baird stated that in his press release after, that Canadian Sikhs have a legal and democratic right to pursue political agendas in Canada, but that he's against the small few who have endorsed extremism and have endorsed violence. That statement in itself is wrong from our perspective, because we are aware of no one who is, say, pro-independence or self-governance in Punjab that advocates violence for it. It is almost like saying, you know, we like the PC party, but those small few racist MPs in there, you know, they're the reason why there's trouble. Well, who are the racist MPs? Who are the extremist Sikhs that he's referring to? From the Liberal Party, what we want to ask is that, can you give a statement in regards to this and say, look, we also asked the minister, foreign minister, if he can clarify who these extremist Sikhs are. And in an interview, which is on YouTube right now, I can give you, he states that a year and a half ago, the Indian government made them aware of an event and that they were horrified by this event and that they didn't attend it. What event was this? We want to know, what events are scaring our ministers, how India is informing them of these events, and who the extremists are. And hopefully you, in the position of, third party to Canada, may be able to ask those questions in the House or in a letter, and that way we can, finally get some clarification.
My question is, it's been 17 days since this, statement of John Baird being around, and the point here is it's not conservative culture. It's became a culture of Ottawa. Any politician wants to bash somebody, they'll pick Muslims or they'll pick Sikhs. It's very easy. Literally all the parties has done it in the past, and I have no doubt that if they're ever unnoticed, they will do it again. But now the outrage within the Sikh community is such that we want to stop that. It's not about just the Baird's comment, but it's comments ongoing that the Canadian Sikhs, if I look at the statement what John Baird made, I fit in that description. I am that one extremist that he's talking about. But I've been in this country for 36 years, never had a problem with the law, know the law probably even a little bit more than John Baird because he has crossed his line many times. So what I'm trying to say, when the hell the politicians will understand that these communities are Canadian communities? When they're talking about the Sikh Canadians, they're actually talking about Canadians. I think this is the message that you need to take it back. And I want to thank the Canadian people who defeated Michael Ignatieff. Being a Liberal card holder, I was so relieved that he was defeated because I might have to rip my card off if he was the one who would be leading this country. This is the problem with the politicians in this country. We need to stop that. Somebody like you can stand up in the House and say, guys, wake up to the reality. These 700,000 Canadian Sikhs are here to stay. Not only piece of paper gives us the citizenship. We want the actual citizenship in their minds of each Canadian. This is the message that I would want you to take it from here.
Yes, you were saying that last 17 days you have been busy and with other things, but there's no statement on this disgusting movie about Islam that has created riots all over the world, and there's no discussion about you in particular or your party defending the people who probably have something to do with the making of the movie. What do you have to say to that?
The people that have made the movie are a few French people within the Catholic community in the States. The Catholic Church has come out against them. Last Monday night I met with the Arab community, and then on Tuesday I had a hiccup that landed me in the hospital.
What is Liberal Party's standpoint on that? What is the statement?
This is something
Or
that
they're still in the thinking mode?
No, we're not in the thinking mode. Absolutely no, we're not in the thinking mode. We listen to the Arab community. We're working with the individual that has a fatwa issued against them. And Mr. Ray is coming, he's on a personal visit overseas. He's coming back on Monday. And on Monday I will have to sit down with him and say to him, where are we going, what we're doing. We have to issue something.
So you're still in the thinking mode, that's what I said.
Well, depends how you think about it, and depends how you put it.
Okay.
I disagree with you that we're in the thinking mode. I think we're stepping forward for people that are that need us to step forward.
I will say when it comes to the issues of any minority community, there is almost a total lack of leadership at the provincial and at the federal level in all the three political parties. Because there are issues both at provincial and the federal level. The minority communities, and we're talking about the Sikh community here, they keep on bringing these issues up, and politicians always saying that, yeah, we're working on it, we're getting more information together, but the final thing we never see. You just said that I'm listening. We met you on March the 21st, 2012. And I attached a copy of that letter with the submission I gave you. We wrote you or met you January 11th, 2012. You have a copy of that. Yes. We met to Michael Ignatieff, I think that was a year and a half ago when he was leader. All those issues, how long you think they will be in the process at the Liberal Party? I mean, why so far the Liberal Party officially have not disowned what Ujjwal Dosanjh and Michael Ignatieff did? People have disowned them, but the Liberal Party have not. And you're saying, I'm here to listen. That's good. But we said all this year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and we're saying it today again. And we will come to maybe Ottawa one day, and there will be a caucus meeting. It will be nice. We will have a coffee, and you will say we are listening again. But hey, I mean, it defies common sense. It is so frustrating.
I hear you. There's a lot of fires to put out. Are you also want to say what happened in the Iranian community? Do you care?
Well, I said issues of all the minorities community. That's how I started. But that's what I'm saying. The total lack of leadership when it comes to the minority communities.
Is Ali here? He just stepped out. I will let you hear from the Iranian community firsthand the work that we've done with you.
We are not denying anything. All I said is that yes, Iranian community, Palestinian community, Sikh community, Muslim community, why they have to keep on bringing these issues to the attention of the politicians at all levels, all the parties for years and years, and all we are always in the mode of listening and discussing. The Liberal Party will not or have not so far issued a one-page press release saying we as a party do not agree with what Ujjwal Dosanjh said about the Sikh community 6 times in a row. Maybe 5 lines altogether. The whole Sikh community throughout Canada has been waiting for that.
Can I just add to that? They were able to silence Sukh Dhaliwal and Andrew Kenya within 5 minutes. When they raised the genocide issue, they were silenced.
Look how many people are here, and on the average they have spent 4 hours coming here, going back and sitting here. And we have that done hundreds and hundreds of times. You know, when we met with Michael Ignatieff, we brought one guy from Vancouver so that we can have a national consensus as to what we are saying. When we have meetings about the Ujjwal Dosanjh, we travel from here to Calgary to Edmonton and whatnot. I will say, you will say we are in the process, but we will say we are so helpless. All we can say is we are good in taking a beating. Whether that be Michael Ignatieff, whether that be Ujjwal Dosanjh, whether that be John Baird, or maybe tomorrow somebody else. You know, and people are so used to it, they say, who the hell cares? You know, but I don't know what else I can say. Anyway.
I would add to that. I think the last election results highlight the discontent many Sikhs have with the Liberal Party. Now we can talk about the Iranians and various other communities, that's fine. Sikhs have a strong voting bloc in about 8 to 10 ridings across Canada, let's just say. Here, in my riding, I was in Mully's riding, we have been Liberal for the, last 15 years? More or less, yeah, 93, I think I was in I was in a grade school then. No one thought that we would ever go non-Liberal. Everybody had this consensus that these guys are in our pockets. Today, we're frustrated with the Liberal Party. We're tired of waiting. I met with Mr. Ignatieff before the election started. He had the exact same meeting like this with us at Rexall Gurdwara. And we told him, listen, don't leave here thinking you accomplished something. You didn't. Until he said himself in that meeting, private meeting, that he is not in any position to say if it is or if it isn't a genocide. I told him, well, in your statement here, you said unequivocally that it's not. He's like, well, you know, I'm going to distance myself, you know, that's not my meaning, blah, blah, blah. I told him, don't leave here thinking you accomplished something. No one in this room will support you publicly until such a time you've made a statement against it. The NDP, let's be honest here, the NDP is cleaning house. They have this image of not being anti-Sikh. Liberals have it. You personally, I think you're a great person. You know what? My family knows you, and a lot of people know you for the work you did, even standing up for the Sikh community when they were in a very dangerous situation back in the 80s. But today, short of yourself, I can't think of one Liberal. Even people like Mr. Cutler, who's in such a position to speak out about situations like this, he doesn't do it. So from our perspective, we don't feel at home with you guys anymore. Whereas the NDP, people like Jagmeet Singh, he's already written to the minister, made it public. Their foreign minister, who's the foreign critic, he's going to be writing. They've told us that, we're in the works of getting something ready for them. They seem to be in this position of winning our hearts, but yet liberals just can't seem to do it. They were able to silence Andrew Kenya and Sukh Taliwal when they're talking about genocide. They said, you cannot use this word. They were able to issue...
You keep beating me with Sukh Taliwal and Andrew Kenya.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to you, that was yesterday.
If I do things yesterday and I do them wrong, then you're going to get... I can't use the word that I want to use.
I think only thing I want to say, Canadian minister have a double standard. For Iranian, he's saying like some people are victim of state terrorism. For India, when you go to India, he is accusing Canadian Sikh Khalistani radicalism. That should be stopped, right? Any human rights violation anywhere.
You got proof? Put it on the table.
Yeah.
If you don't have proof,
So that's I think double type of standard should be stopped. He can make many statements for Syria, whatever they do, they're a freedom fighter, this and that. He can make many statements.
How much money did we spend on bombing Syria? Sorry, Libya.
Who?
How much money did we spend?
Who?
Millions. When they had the elections, did this government send anybody over there as election observers?
That's right.
Did they send anybody? Who went? You don't know. You haven't been reading, son. Who went? No, we had a team of 10 people. Courtesy of the Libyan Canadian Council. Yes, sir.
If I might just point out, the government of Egypt has issued a fatwa or an edict against 2 Canadian citizens for supposedly being involved in that movie that has hurt a lot of people. These people are scared of their wits. We've contacted the minister and said, what are you doing to protect Canadian citizens? He said the best thing that they can do is seal their lips. So you understand that there's more at play here. This government has to make sure that we protect our citizens. If people are not worthwhile to have our citizenship, take it away from them, number one. Number two, not only to protect our citizens in this country, but also to protect our citizens abroad. Canadian citizenship should not just be a passport, and this is what you get, you got a passport. I can get a passport if you go and live in another country, but Canadian citizenship should be just more than a passport. You should feel that you're a player in this country, you should feel that you belong in this country, you should feel that you are an integral part of this country. So, you've done your duty as a citizen. Where's the duty of the government when, as Mr. Fauzi has had, and he comes clearly, he says, look, this is where it is. This is my name, this is the fatwa, da-da-da-da-da, and he states it all out. And the government of Canada says, seal your lips. We're going to work behind the scenes. I think, I'm not, you can see statements, through private channels. What does that mean? I'll give you another example. I was working on the case of Colin Rutherford. Colin Rutherford is a Canadian that was in Afghanistan, and he's been lost in November coming up, probably 2 years. And I asked the government, what are you doing? So if you're a Canadian citizen and born in Canada, where's the protection? Now, sometimes you might be asking for it, but Canada has a responsibility to our citizens.
No, I can understand that, but my question is, since it's here in our backyard happening here to us as Canadians, so what's the way out? Like, how can Liberal Party address
Exactly.
it?
Where's the responsibility of the Canadian government to protect its citizens?
No, I can understand. Canadian government is not here. We are not in the PC. We are, as a Liberal Party, how can you address that?
Well, first and foremost, sir, we got to make sure that we protect our citizens. When we're in government or in opposition, we got to advocate for the Canadian citizenship to be worth something. And if they got evidence that XYZ has terrorist ties, whatever else, then kick them out. If you have no evidence, do me a favor, please. I'm talking to the government here.
This dialogue has been good. Like several other issues have come up, like the soccer issue and then the issues the Canadian Sikh Association has brought up. You said the need to protect Canadians, right? In the packages the Liberal Party has received and everybody's received from Sikhs for Justice, we've included the names of Canadian Sikhs that were killed in New Delhi. Where's the outrage and the protection for them? How about the Liberal government, the Liberal caucus? Okay, the Liberal caucus. Fine, let's start with the third party then, because you guys need the most help, right? So the Liberal.
We need to start listening.
Yeah, exactly. There was a time when the Liberal Party was a friend to everybody.
Listening first and doing sorry.
No, but how about the Liberal Party just, you can take it back to the caucus and say, listen, let's first recognize this as a genocide because Canadians were killed there. What happened in New Delhi? That's the first step, I think, to get our trust back. That's the paramount issue here. And then once that ball gets rolling, we become more legitimate. These comments like the comments that SM Krishna said to John Baird, these type of comments will have less effect on John Baird or Ujjwal Dosanjh or whoever it is tomorrow, Michael Ignatieff, because they're all part and parcel. So until the Liberals, like, we don't want to fill up buses and go to Ottawa again. And then all of a sudden, you guys do backroom, not you per se, because you're a friend, but the leader does a backroom deal and gets like a text message from Indian consulate. You better stop this. And then all of a sudden, Sukh Dhaliwal and Andrew Kenny are told to be quiet.
Let me tell you about a bus load. Besides the Punjabi community, well, first of all, it started with the Greeks back in 1992. The 29th of February, 40 below, 40,000 Greeks. Then other communities. And then we had the Tamil community. Now you realize the Tamil community and what influence it had with the Liberal Party.
Right.
There's probably in Scarborough and some parts over there, there's a lot of Tamils.
Yeah.
And we found that out. I had 4,000 constituents when the Tamils were in Ottawa. I wrote a letter to Mr. Ignatieff, which I still have and I will frame, and I asked, I said, look, there's 4,000 constituents of mine outside. Can I go and speak to them? Guess what I was told? I appreciate that the work that you're doing. They're secessionists. Stay away, am I?
Right.
And the Canadian government, this government of today, failed in Sri Lanka. When we were in Sri Lanka after the tsunami, I personally delivered a letter from the LTTE, Donald Shelvin. This is the political arm of the LTTE at that time. I delivered a letter to Mr. Martin. I never had an opportunity to read the letter, but if I was a guessing man, I wouldn't think for 30 seconds to tell you what the letter said. The letter said, can we get Canadian government influence to talk to both sides? Fast forward to the election 2006, even before the election happened, the Tamils, bang, all brushed with the same brush. Stockwell Day and everybody else did it. And what happened? Civil war. The government of the day was in denial of what was happening. We can't hide our head in the water, under the sand.
Right.
This denial mode, we have to. So it's not just one community. It's not just the Iranians. It's not the Jews. It's not just the Greeks. It's not the Armenians. It's not just the Sikhs. They're communities. And I want to thank you for saying to me, open it up, involve more communities. Because at that point in time, we as the Liberal Party can come up not just recognizing one community or second community or third community. You don't think that the Greeks don't want to recognize the Pontian genocide?
Yeah.
Hell, I've been fighting for that since the day I was elected. I was fighting for the Armenian genocide to be. We got to come up with a coherent plan. We got to come up with something that just doesn't take one community step forward because you control 8 ridings, or the Muslim community because they control another 10 ridings, or the Jewish community, or the Iranian community, or the Greek community. There's got to be equality for all. Now, the other thing that we also have to do with you, and I will say this much, and I've been advocating for this even before, we got to provide sustainable development for nation building. India is the largest democracy in the world. Greece was the founding of the democracy, the city I was born. We thought that we were practicing democracy best here until last year, the robocalls. What about providing the communities, the diasporas, sustainable development for nation building? Now, you're going to say to me, India doesn't need sustainable development for nation building. India is a democracy. India knows